How does one begin to describe a silence so heavy it feels like the world itself has stopped breathing? How do we find words when the laughter, the light, the presence of someone so full of life suddenly vanishes, leaving behind only echoes? In the quiet hours of early September 2025, a piece of news shattered millions of hearts across Asia. Yu Menglong, beloved actor, talented singer, humble soul, was gone. The announcement did not come with the fanfare of tabloids or the drama of rumor. It came softly, painfully, from the trembling voice of family, confirming what many refused to believe. Yu Menglong, known by fans across the world as Alan Yu, had passed away. No scandal, no mystery, no whispered controversies. Only a gentle statement, urging respect and restraint, asking the public not to speculate wildly. And yet, in the fragile space between fact and silence, grief spread like wildfire. Hello, drama lovers. Welcome back to this channel. Today, we gather not with excitement for the next drama release or the sparkle of a red carpet gala, but with heavy hearts. For even the brightest stars, it seems, are not immune to the inevitability of time, to the fragility of existence. Yumang Long's departure came at a time when his career was not fading, but soaring. He had recently appeared in new projects, standing at the peak of his artistic journey. Fans remembered him not only for his roles in romantic and fantasy dramas that once dominated screens across Asia, but also for his sincerity, his gentleness, the way he carried himself with grace. Unlike many others who found themselves swept up in gossip and scandal, Yu Menglong's life remained refreshingly quiet. His reputation was one of dignity and discipline, and that is precisely why his death feels so surreal, so cruel, so unfair. The first reports emerged from entertainment media, whispers that quickly turned into sobs. Confirmation soon followed from his mother, who spoke with a calmness that only deepened the tragedy. Her son had died of natural causes. No dark secrets, no hidden battles, just the inevitable hand of fate. She assured the public that funeral arrangements had been handled peacefully and asked for privacy. Yet even in her grief, even as she begged for space, questions persisted. Where was the funeral held? Why had it been so private? Why had his body remained in a funeral hall before cremation? For fans, the mystery of his farewell only sharpened the pain. In Chinese culture, funerals are not only a family's last duty, but also a community's opportunity to show respect, to say goodbye. But for Yu Menglong's admirers, scattered across China, across Asia, and beyond, there was no open door, no final glimpse, no collective moment of closure. Instead, grief poured into digital spaces. Weibo lit up with hashtags bearing his name, timelines flooded with memories, screenshots, and prayers. International fans followed suit, posting in every language imaginable, their sorrow bound by a shared love for a man who never truly sought global fame, yet found it nonetheless. Among those who mourned most deeply were his colleagues, fellow stars who had walked the same glittering, exhausting path. And none felt the blow more personally than Su Kai and Tan Songyun. Both had worked alongside Yu Menglong in different stages of their careers. Both had known him not only as a co-star but as a friend. Su Kai, known for his towering presence and emotive performances, had once called Yu Menglong a quiet force on set, someone who didn't need to shout to be heard, who led not with dominance, but with sincerity. Tan Songyun, admired for her versatility and warmth, had shared screen moments with you that fans still replay today, scenes brimming with natural chemistry that blurred the line between fiction and reality. When the news broke, both Su Kai and Tan Songyun withdrew from public appearances. For days, their social media accounts lay silent. And then, quietly, they returned, not with polished statements or carefully crafted words, but with grief unmasked. Su Kai posted a single photograph, a behind-the-scenes shot from a drama they once filmed together. No caption, just the image of two young actors laughing between takes, unaware of the weight the future would carry. Tan Songyun's message was longer, though still restrained. She spoke of Menglong as a brother, someone who had encouraged her during moments of doubt, someone whose kindness she had never forgotten. She ended with words that left fans in tears. "May you find the peace you always carried within you. We will remember." The entertainment industry, often accused of being shallow and unforgiving, seemed to pause. Other celebrities offered condolences, but most refrained from speculation. There was a rare, collective respect, a silence that spoke louder than words. Everyone seemed to understand. Yu Menglong was more than a star. He was a reminder of what artistry could be when it was rooted not in ego, but in authenticity. As days passed, fans dug deeper into memories. They revisited his songs, his performances, the gentle way he delivered lines that lingered long after the credits rolled. They spoke of how his characters had comforted them in lonely nights, how his smile had carried them through difficult days. Some shared how they first discovered Chinese dramas through him, how his roles became their gateway into an entire culture. For international fans, Yu Menglong was not just an actor. He was a bridge. And yet, there was still the sting of absence. No public funeral. No chance to bow before his coffin, to leave flowers, to whisper farewells. For Su Kai and Tan Songyun, who had the privilege of knowing him personally, the grief was heavier still. Insiders revealed that Su Kai attended the private funeral, his tall frame hunched in sorrow, tears falling silently as the casket was lowered. Tan Songyun, ever fragile yet resilient, was said to have held his mother's hand, whispering words of comfort even as her own voice trembled. But no matter how private the farewell, the world still mourned. On Weibo, hashtags continued to trend. Fans organized online memorials, gathering virtually to share music, poetry, and tributes. Across Southeast Asia, streaming platforms noted a surge in viewership of Yu Menglong's dramas as fans rewatched his legacy, clinging to what remained. In forums and comment sections, one phrase echoed endlessly: "Gone too soon." Looking back on his career, it becomes painfully clear how much was lost. Yu Menglong was not at the twilight of his stardom. He was still climbing, still surprising, still creating. His roles in romantic and fantasy dramas showcased a range that was only beginning to deepen. His music, often overshadowed by his acting, carried a raw sincerity that hinted at even greater artistry to come. To lose him now was not only to lose a star, but to lose a promise unfulfilled. Su Kai, in an interview given weeks later, broke his silence. His voice cracked as he spoke. "Menglong was someone who reminded me why I chose this path. In this industry, it's easy to forget. It's easy to get lost in noise, in expectations. But he always brought me back. He reminded me that we are here to tell stories, to give life to characters, to connect. Not for fame, not for headlines. For something greater. I don't know how to move forward without him, but maybe that's how we honor him, by carrying on with the same honesty he lived with." Tan Songyun, too, reflected publicly. In a heartfelt essay, she wrote, "We often think we have time. Time to meet again, to share another meal, to laugh about the old days. But time is not ours to hold. Menglong taught me to cherish the present, to work with love, to live with humility. And now, in his absence, I realize he is still teaching us. His life, though short, is a lesson we must carry." For fans, these words were both comfort and wound. They reminded everyone that grief is not something to overcome, but something to live with, to carry forward. Yu Menglong's death was not just the end of a life. It was the continuation of a legacy, one that now lived in every memory, every drama, every song. And so, we arrive at this moment. A silence that feels endless, yet is filled with echoes. A sorrow that feels unbearable, yet is softened by love. Su Kai and Tan Songyun grieve, as do millions of fans. But in grief, there is also remembrance. And in remembrance, there is immortality. Yu Menglong is gone, but his voice, his presence, his light, those remain. Not in the headlines, not in the scandals that never came, but in the hearts of those who watched him, who loved him, who will never forget him.
So now, I turn to you.
What are your memories of Yu Menglong? Which roles touched you most deeply? How do you wish to remember him? not just as a star, but as a person who gave so much of himself to the world. Share your thoughts in the comments, and let us carry this legacy together. Because while life may be fragile, memory is eternal. And as always, Halo Pacinta Drama, Kembali Lagi di Channel Ini. Stay with us, for stories do not end. They continue, just as Yu Menglong's light continues to shine, even in the quiet of his absence.